evening, darling. So I received another anonymous rumor-related request, except this one makes a lot of assumptions, and I have a lot to say about it, so let's just get to reading it. It says, so Thronwheel, there are eyewitnesses to the fact that apparently you got carried to bed after a wild party by one certain dwarf. Your order is very disappointed now. First of all, please leave my dead father out of this. He has many opinions, I'm sure, in the afterlife if he's looking down on me, but you should not assume about someone's parents, particularly ones who have passed. It's just not very polite to bring up people's dead relatives. Now, to get on to the actual rumor, and it is a rumor, let me assure you. Now, there have been many celebrations going on. It's that time of year, of course, and I do have a lot of reason to be traveling. In fact, I'm traveling just this upcoming week, and I just think that it's a little bit rude for you to just make assumptions about things like this. Now, there were dwarves at the party in question, and I know what you're talking about, darling, and I'm sure you were probably there as part of it. But that's beside the point, since this is certainly about you and me, and not about anything but starting a vicious rumor. Now, it's true that that certain dwarf was present. I'm not saying he wasn't present. And I'm not saying that I didn't drink a lot. And I'm not saying that I might not have nodded off for a moment. But I'm pretty sure that I recall how I got to the bedroom. And I'm pretty sure it didn't involve any dwarves, except the, I suppose, sort of helping me find it. But there was a lot of drinking that night, darling, which if you were there, I'm sure you know. Or your eyewitnesses should have known, these eyewitnesses that you apparently have, that you can't even name, not even subtly hint at who they are, so I'm not even sure that I believe them as reliable sources. But they should know that I was hardly carried. There was mention of the possibility, but I got myself there on my own two legs, mostly. So I don't want to hear any carrying. It wasn't like I was swept up in a dwarf's arms and taken in some sort of princess hold back to my bedroom, you know. I'm a king, and I would not let myself go to such undignified levels of drinking, you know. It's true that I do like to drink a lot at these sort of things, particularly when there are dwarves about, but not so much that I can't walk or stand, you know, at least without assistance. So I just think it's very rude of you to bring this up, and also I was assured that what happened at that celebration was supposed to stay at that celebration. So I'm not sure why you're bringing it up. I'm not sure how these eyewitnesses brought it up either. They shouldn't have said anything. So there's just a lot of things. I think the confidentiality was broken here. So much for your dwarven traditions, darling. But whatever. It's out now, I suppose. And I wasn't really carried, and the carrying was very brief. It wasn't like the whole time. It was just a moment. And it was mostly because my heel on my boot broke. And it was sort of I stumbled when it broke, and I was going to catch myself, but the dwarf in question didn't think so. It's not like I couldn't have caught my balance. In fact, I was doing it. But, you know, dwarves are not the most perceptive people at times, particularly when alcohol's involved. No shade, darling, just the truth. And so I'm sure it was mostly a misunderstanding. The lifting was momentary, I assure you. It was so brief. It was almost as if it didn't happen. I'm starting to remember more now, but it doesn't matter, darling. Just don't worry about it. It doesn't matter if I was, even if I was carried. What did it matter? You know, it wasn't as if anything happened after that. It was just sort of a mode of transportation. You know, just making the walk shorter, and you know, perhaps it was kinder than normally happens with this dwarf in particular, and perhaps I was a little thankful for it and maybe a little less harsh as a result. But it hasn't stopped any of the animosity that's still there. One night of kindness does not eradicate decades worth of animosity and rivalry and all sorts of other things. Anyhow, darling, I'm going to go because if you really want to discuss this with me, we should do it in private, not spreading this all over the internet like you want to for some reason. So, anyhow, darling, I'm just going to go and have some more wine, and then no one's going to carry me to my own bed. I'm going to get there myself, which is what I normally do. It's not as if this is the normal occurrence. It's a one-time thing. It shouldn't have been brought up anyhow. So, ta-ta, darlings, I love you.